Hello and welcome back to Behind the Streams. I'm your host, Cameron. This is a podcast all about those smaller streamers and what it's like to stream without massive viewer base. Each episode, I will have a new guest telling their stories about being below that threshold and the struggles of growing. This episode of Behind the Streams, I have the pleasure of being joined by Derelekt. Derelekt, please introduce yourself to the viewers.
What's going on? My name is Derelekt, and relatively new to Twitch and brand new to this podcast. I'm happy to be here, my man.
It's a pleasure to have you, Derelekt.
I hope so. By the end, you'll still think the same way.
I hope so too, because I really do enjoy watching your streams.
Well, thank you.
So, let's just get straight into about you and what actually got you into streaming.
Yeah, I actually have told this story quite a bit on my stream. I started Twitch streaming mainly when my daughter moved to a new province to go to school, and I thought it would be a really cool way for us to hang out because it is the one thing that her and I shared quite a bit while she was growing up. So I thought, well, this would be really cool if I could just sort of maybe do this. Then she can at least see me and we can interact and chat and stuff and have some fun. And the other reason actually was I hadn't been playing or performing a whole lot in the 2 years previous, and I needed a way for myself. I needed a way to get back into rehearsing and performing and sort of just getting back, swinging, I guess. And that was another reason. But the first reason to even consider Twitch was to actually spend time, face to face, so to speak, with my daughter. And yeah, it's been it's paid off in a whole bunch of ways. So yeah, she's joined me on stream quite a bit. My community knows who she is, Darian Taylor XO, and yeah, she comes in and bugs me once in a while still. And but yeah, it's been paying off for all the reasons I started, I guess.
That's actually an amazing story, dude. Because there's been a few times that I've been in your stream watching, and I've seen her join the chat or what have you, and just the banter that goes on between you and her is just amazing.
She tries to give me a hard time, but she's not that mean of a person, so she kind of gives up pretty quick, and she just keeps asking for the same songs that she always likes.
I've noticed that too. Yeah, which we'll touch on a bit further into the podcast.
Right.
So, besides having that face to face kind of talk time with your daughter, oh, do you have any future goals for streaming? Like, what are your goals for streaming? If you have any.
1 billion followers. 1 billion followers. No, I joke about, yeah. I joke about that. I put that on my title a lot, actually. Road to 1 billion followers. Mainly because I know that starting out and having the availability I currently have, which is going to be improving very soon, but I just know that that's kind of a joke, and most people know that it's a joke too. So they'll see that little bit of humor and come on in and see what I'm all about. My goals for streaming, honestly, are very grounded. Actually, I mean, I'm not going to lie and say, oh, my goal for streaming is to make this a full-time thing. But you know, as far as that would be a long-term goal, maybe. But right now, I think my goal is to get my stream on schedule. I think that's really important for me. I have personal goals, actually. They're not really outward like Twitch goals as far as like monetary or viewers or anything like that. To make my stream better, to make my stream more entertaining. I would like to become partner. I think that's probably my furthest goal right now. Is I've the prize that my eye is on is becoming Twitch partner, but I know that to get there, there's a whole lot of other goals that I have to hit. Personally, anyway, I want to keep learning new songs. I want to keep finding new ways to make my stream, fun for my community and for anyone else that comes in and becomes a part of that community. Um, they're really all just personal goals right now, actually. Just self improvement, stream improvement, that kind of thing. And I think if I focus on those and keep myself relatively grounded when as far as those are concerned, I think other things will follow, and then I can start creating new goals once I sort of have those ones done.
Awesome. And it's funny that you mentioned becoming a partner, because at the moment you're currently a Twitch affiliate.
Yes.
Um, did you find it easy to become an affiliate, or would you say it's like almost as hard as becoming a partner?
No, no. I think partner, at least for me, it wasn't anyway. For me, partner is I was always told this with I've been a lifelong musician, but I've always been told this when it came to my full band was, it's really hard to go from 0 people at your show to 500 and really easy to go from 500 to 50,000. So for me, I think the partner push is probably the grindiest time for any kind of streamer to get to that point, where you have the numbers that are consistent and all that kind of stuff. So from, that's kind of, yeah, I think I had affiliate within 2 weeks. It was actually a really short amount of time, from what I was told anyway. I didn't really know I have any expectations, to be honest with you. Um, but I remember someone coming into my chat and they said, "You're affiliate already? Holy crap." It's been like 2
Right.
weeks. And I didn't think that was a huge deal, although I understood what affiliate opened up, opened up the possibility for subscriptions and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, I was pretty happy with that. It was pretty cool. But yeah, that's about it, really.
Yeah, and like affiliate is like the threshold's not as much as it is for the partner. Like for example, I think it's an average viewer base of 3 per stream. Um,
For affiliate.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And so many views. I think it's like 1,000 total views or 100 total views or something
yeah.
like that.
And it's like 50 followers or something like ridiculously low like that.
Yeah, I don't yeah. So yeah, I can't even really remember, to be honest with you, because I'm not a numbers guy. I never really count anything. So I just sort of go. I just sort of do. You know what I mean? I don't really
Okay,
yeah.
that's quite awesome that you don't actually think of it as numbers.
Mm,
So given Twitch is like a big platform now, bigger than it was say back in 2011. There's more people out there trying to become the next big thing,
mhm.
and with that pressure, you see a lot of new and upcoming streamers who actually lose like their passion for Twitch,
Right.
and they end up, we'll say quotations, quitting Twitch.
Right, right.
What do you think the biggest reason for those guys who do end up like leaving the platform for good is?
Um, I think it would be a combination of a number of things, honestly. One, I think, is the reason that the streamer got started in the first place, and the other, I think, in combination with that, are expectations. If you have expectations that are way too high and you're not worried about the smaller steps to get there, I think that would be incredibly frustrating as a streamer. Um, I also think that if you got into it for the wrong reasons, I know that passion, like you have to really love what you do, or people will see that. You know what I mean? I was told that a lot as a musician, growing up through in music, and people saying, like if you're having a bad day, everyone will see that, regardless of how you're playing or anything else. They'll see that you're having a bad day, and it always just helps to be in a good mood when you go on stage, when you go on stream, um, or you're just passionate about what it is you're doing. Um, I think all of that really comes down to personal expectations, making sure that you keep yourself grounded as far as all the individual steps, like I mentioned before. There's smaller goals, there's things that you sort of have to do, and like I said, summit doesn't become summit on day one. Ninja's not ninja on day one. Tim the Tap Man, Goldie, Dr. Disrespect, all these guys, like they're not that when they start. They whatever they are now, they've evolved and grown with their stream. And because they wanted to take it seriously, they wanted it to become something that was beyond what they thought it could be. And I'm sure all of them, have reached that point at some, now they're used to it. But so managing your expectations, I think it would be, if you're not the right sort of person to sort of make sure that you're managing that stuff, I think it would be easy to quit, because if you're just looking at numbers and stuff like that, I think it would be very frustrating. And the other reason I think, I mean, it's a little more normal and casual. I think it's just time. People have, uh, school they go to, new jobs, new relationships they get into, all of which take away from perhaps what they, used to have as far as a streaming schedule. And, you know, um, I think it may weed out the people who are truly passionate about streaming and those who are just passionate about the gaming side, because I think it takes both of those things to really make a big difference and keep you in the game. You have to love, like, I love playing music, but if I didn't like the streaming side of it, I would just stop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like, it wouldn't be fun for me if I was just sitting here going, "Wow, like, I could be doing this by myself and completely enjoying it, and now I'm looking at my viewer count and yeah, why did I go through all this? I could just be doing this," So I think it separates a lot of those kind of folks from, you know, the people who really just enjoy streaming and enjoy that sort of interaction and stuff and keep themselves grounded. I think that's a big part of it.
Okay. So you mentioned people like Ninja and Doctor Disrespect, and all those other bigger streamers, right? Then,
Yeah.
um, and most of which are now what we call full time streamers.
Yes.
Um, have you ever considered yourself going full time on Twitch, or has it ever crossed your mind of doing that?
You know what? I could try to play it cool and be all like whatevs, but to be honest with you, I was a born an entertainer. I've always wanted to be a full-time musician in general. Um, this was never an option for me up until, well, I mean, when did Twitch start live streaming? I mean, 2010, 9, 10, Justin TV, I think, way back in the day.
Yeah, I think it was Justin TV back then, like 2010, 2011. I
Right.
can't. I'm not 100% on the dates, but yeah,
Yeah,
Justin
yeah.
TV.
But I mean, I got my first guitar at 12. I wanted to be a rock star from the minute I picked it up and started playing it. I really fell in love with entertaining people and seeing the reaction that playing music can have on people. And I just bought into that, and for one reason or another, that dream just didn't occur for me full out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a touring musician right now, obviously. But this is just as good in a lot of ways. It does cut down on packing up a cold van and driving to some city to play and for random people, hoping that things will go well. I can just sort of hit my stream room and log on. And if to do it full time, absolutely. I've said that on my stream a number of times. You know, uh, I love entertaining people. I love trying to be more entertaining, but inside my own bubble. I'm not going to do anything that's uncomfortable for me personally, but I will do whatever it takes to entertain people and make them laugh. Um, make them cry. I've had people crying on stream once. I don't know why. I
Oh,
can't remember,
really?
to be honest with you, but um, that's one thing I like about music is that it's for me anyway. Music is emotional, and I think you can sort of pull emotions out of people when they least expect it. And to have that every day, all day, absolutely. I would be completely up for that.
Yeah. I mean, music to me, certain songs do trigger emotions because of what I've gone through and what have you. And I can also see from watching you when you're playing your music, singing your songs, that you really are into your music. You love it with a passion, and I believe you. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is it every Wednesday you do learning live?
Yeah, most Wednesdays, I try to do it most Wednesdays. Now, if you ask my community, they'd probably give me a little gut punch and say, "No, you don't do it every Wednesday, Derelekt." And that's true. It's a particular stream I have to be mentally prepared for because it's not about me entertaining people, it's about people watching me struggle. And I think that's one of the weird things that I have to get used to coming from a live music situation my whole life, um, is understanding why people tune into the stream. I think that's one of the biggest things, and still, to be honest with you, I still into my brain, like, why are people tuning in? I think it's, I have to continuously keep keep playing songs. It was driven into my head from when I was a child. Like dead time is awful. You'll lose your crowd immediately. You got to keep things rolling. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Right, and I think I've heard you say a couple of times on your stream that musicians and Spotify.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's one of the it's funny when people come in and just sort of do what they do on a gaming stream. Well, they'll just sort of set up a request that Spotify will play eventually, and I just sort of I give them sort of a side, that confused puppy look on my face, and I'm just like, it's not Spotify, man. I wish I was. I wish I knew every song known to man that I could entertain the world, but unfortunately, you're gonna have to hit that song list.
Right. Um, Also, given that you are a musician, you've been playing since you were really young.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, the first time you hit that go live button, there must have been some nerves running through your system.
It was it was a different kind of nerve, I think. Um, Not so much nerves for what I was gonna be doing necessarily. I think it was more nerves, because again, my first stream was literally, chatting with my daughter saying, "Hey, I'm gonna go live now. You'll come and hang out." And she was like, "Yeah, okay, cool." And, she had a couple people hanging out with us. And so I wasn't nervous about that side of it. I was kind of nervous about everyone else and not really knowing what to expect because having watched Twitch for a long time, I didn't really watch a lot of music streams before I started. So I didn't really understand what it was that people, would do. And it's not like I was wondering, oh, will they like me or not? Like I've been through that so much in my life. I've sort of that's not really a part of it for me anymore. I'm not concerned whether people because you can't please everybody. I've learned that very quickly. So I've kind of always had that. But you know, I, no, nervous. I think it was just nervous to know. I think that I was broadcasting to basically the world. It's grandiose thing to say, but I was basically streaming and it was wide open. Anyone could come in and check it out. I was more like, what are they going to say? What are they going to do? Are they going to, are they going to be entertained? And that's what all I was really concerned about. So I was a little nervous for that, but yeah, I'm not usually very nervous when I hit the go live button.
Okay, so also, given that you are what I consider a smaller streamer, does it ever cross your mind that you could be hosted by a bigger streamer such as like Mike the Bard, Jovian, Timac, or any
Right.
of those other streamers who are up there with the thousands of views each stream and the hundreds of thousands of followers and subscribers?
Right. And you're not alone. I am a small streamer. You're not, you could try to be nice about it, but hey, listen, I'm the first one to tell you how small I am. And I don't mind it. My community is really great for the size of it, for sure. And I look forward to having that smaller, small town, small stream feel, even if it does get a little bit bigger. I would prefer to keep that feel, but um, to be honest with you, I don't really that's not really something that makes me nervous. If I had I mean, I treat every raid or host the same, whether it's 4 people or 1,000. Now, I haven't had 1,000 yet, but, I've had over 100, and that's, good for my stream at this point, and I've had 4, and they're all the same to me, basically, like, aside from and I understand how those raids work. People will join up for the raid, they'll do their thing, and then a lot of them will just sort of take off after the first couple seconds, and that's fine. Um, I'm more concerned about the people that stick around. To be honest with you, I'm not concerned about the number of people that come in. I'm more concerned about the people that want to hang around and check out the rest of my stream, possibly drop a request. Because right now, I mean, being a small streamer, I don't have rules or regulations for who can request a song. I do give subs priority. That's the one thing I have gotten around to doing. But I'm not too concerned. Yeah, it doesn't really concern me the number because um, Yeah, the number I guess the number that would concern me are the people that do wanna hang around and enjoy what I do. And, I do find that the music community on Twitch is really, really friendly and really, really cool. I mean, if you go into anyone else's stream, like, it's a really positive thing that's going on the Twitch music side, and I'm really happy. I'm hoping that it stays that way. It is gonna get bigger, and I'm sure with, more viewers and more, popularity coming to the music side, you'll get some of the, cross-contamination from the gaming side because it's so big.
Right.
The numbers don't really bother me too much. Feel free to raid or host my channel at any time. Um,
Oh yeah, guys, just feel free to just
yeah,
go
yeah,
in his stream even when he's not live.
yeah. If you got a billion people watching your stream, send them on over so I can hit my fake goal. That'd be perfect.
So I know that being a musician in general, equipment's not cheap.
Mm,
Guitars can cost from $100 to thousands of dollars.
yes.
Keyboards from several hundred to several thousands.
Yeah.
Um, it's the same with your audio equipment. Um, but all these smaller streamers are people who are listening to the podcast who want to become a streamer, who
Mhm.
are on a really tight budget, who can't afford these fancy external audio mixers, keyboards, guitars,
Right.
other musical instruments. Do you
Mhm.
think it's actually necessary for that type of equipment to become like a decent mid-range streamer?
No, I don't think it's necessary at all. I uh, with the learning that I've had to do as a streamer, um, uh, the things you realize quickly that truly matter to a lot of people is content and you. You know, with gamers, they have to be. It's kind of funny because it's a bit of a double-edged sword comparing gamers to musicians in a sense that I have to keep singing to have content, and yeah, gamers can game, but the thing with gamers is that they have to be entertaining as a gamer and be able to comment on everything that they're thinking and doing and be really sort of quick with their wit, or what have you, to really come across. And I think that's the biggest thing that people will get a hold of on your stream immediately. So if I was, just a negative guy, and I was sitting there, I was like, wasn't talking to in between songs and sort of just thumbing around and doing stuff. I don't think that would be very entertaining for people. You've been to my stream. I mean, I put music on in between my music when I'm talking,
Yeah,
just background music, just to have that sort of constant flow of a show aspect to my stream, just to try to keep it interesting for people in between. It's not very loud, but I mean, I do put it on in the background.
yeah,
Um, that's not something you have to do either. But when it comes to the gear, I think once you're once you've got a community starting and started, I think quality of your audio does come into play, especially as a musician, because it's hard to listen. A lot of people have really tinny or spaced out stuff because it's not mic'd properly or plugged in properly or something. I think it'll be harder for people to stick around for a long because as a musician, I mean, you're playing for anywhere between 2.5 and 5 minutes each song. So I mean, if it gets tiring to listen to, I think that's the time when it does kind of matter but you don't have to spend thousands of dollars. I mean, there's gear you can get that gives you just enough for what you need. That's really all you need. I mean, if I became a larger streamer and I had, a lot of revenue coming in from the stream, because every goes back into my stream in one form or another, I would absolutely upgrade everything I have. It just it would make sense for me to do that at that time because it's like I heard this story about Phil Collins. Actually, do you remember him? He was like a drummer back in the day or a
yeah.
singer back in the
I'm I'm familiar with Phil Collins. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're familiar with Phil Collins. Yeah, he told his son. I heard this story. I don't know if it's true, but I remember he said, his son went to him and said, "Hey, listen, I want to record an album. I need some money." No, that's what the record company's for. You go make good music, and the record company will give you money to make a great recording. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I kind of use that as a mantra on my stream. If I do well enough as an entertainer, and my stream is valuable enough to people who want to come as often as possible, and uh, invest their time coming here and checking it out, and obviously that money will go into giving me uh, just bigger and better gear to make my stream better. But I think it all starts with your content, right? So you have to be entertaining, and I think that's basically it. So no, I don't think it's necessary, but that's a long way around basically saying no. You don't need
Okay.
thousands of dollars, but you can get there.
So you touched on that you play music in between each song. Um,
Mhm.
am I right in thinking that's original music that you've written yourself?
Yes.
Okay, so you do original music and requests.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got original music. The reason I started using that for music for my stream is because I don't have to pay anything to play it. It's mine.
That's a good reason for using it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I can create more. I can create as much music as I want to for in between my songs. I just recently found the old file from the recording that we did that we never released. So now I've got 8 more songs that I can play in between as well. So,
Amazing,
yeah, what's that?
amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I don't really mind that whole thing. To be honest with you, people are listening to me chat. They're not really listening to the songs, although I do make those available to subs as a sub gift. Just something to give away. I'm actually going to be working on a new acoustic electronic version of those older songs. A lot of the songs that get requested on my stream, uh, specifically for my community as well. That's coming soon. I'm assuming sometime in the new year, I guess.
That sounds like a venture. Sounds like a really good venture, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I love the studio. I love the studio. Like I said, if I could be a musician for the rest of my life, I would be. And if I could spend most of that time in a studio recording, I would do it because it's my favorite part is the creation side of it.
Right. So I know at the point in time of recording this podcast, we are in the year of 2018, and for some reason, people think it's funny to go into people's stream and just be there to be a troll. Have you ever had to put up with people coming into your stream specifically and just there to be annoying and to be trollish?
Um, I don't know if some people understand that they're being trollish sometimes, which is the funniest one, to be honest with you. Um, to be honest with you, man, I don't mind it. I really don't mind if people come in and try to do something because what they're, I don't know. I mean, I've said this on stream before too, and I keep saying that I know, but I've said this on stream. When you've dealt with a room full of people in a strange city and they don't like you because you're from out of town, and you have to find ways to get them to enjoy your music and enjoy you to save yourself. um,
Right.
that doesn't, trolling in chat doesn't really bother me at all. I mean, to be honest with you, I try to be as friendly as I can with them and sort of make them a part of it because, that's what I've diffused 95% of those situations because they're not coming in and just being ignorant and rude. They're trying to knock the stream off course. They're trying to do something just to sort of, uh, throw a little curveball at you. And I don't know. I've just had a lot of experience in dealing with those kind of things, so I get a kick out of it personally. I don't know if my community enjoys it as much as I do, to be honest, because I would sit there and chat with these guys. Like one of the go-to lines I usually have is like, "Oh man, hold on, you guys. Like, are you feeling okay today? Is there anything I can do? Is there a song I can play for you that'll make you smile a bit? Like, you seem kind of like you're down. Like, is there something we can do to bring you up?" And I think at that point they're kind of like, nah, all right, this guy's all right, I won't bother with this guy. And they usually, I've got a few people in my community actually that started out that way, and
Right.
now they're in, so There's only been, I have to say, maybe three or four instances since I started. It's been what, 10 months now, I think. Uh, three or four instances of people just coming in and being ignorant and rude that had to be kicked right away by either myself or a mod. So, I mean, it's not really all that rampant. I am a small streamer though, so I mean, I understand that if numbers do get bigger, it's probably going to be something that happens a lot more often. But also the music side, like I said, is a lot friendlier, so I don't think you have a lot of that. So yeah, yeah, they don't really bother me too much. They're welcome. They're welcome to come in and be a part of my community.
Awesome. So any trolls listening, feel free to go and try your luck with Derelekt.
It's not a try your luck thing, man. I'm not, I'm not anything. I get it. I get it. And I get the humor of it. I understand what it is they're doing. And it's not a competition, and I'm definitely not challenging people. But I mean, if they want to come in and try to mess around, that's fine. I don't mind that.
Right. So Twitch growing day by day. It's a very competitive platform in today's day and age. Um, and most of these streamers they look out for views, and they basically base their stream off of views and how many views they can drag in per stream.
Mhm.
And I believe you touched on this a bit earlier on in the podcast, but do you look at do you stream for the views, or just stream to have fun to get your music and your voice out to the people of Twitch?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't, and the reason I don't is because when I did start, I had my viewer count on OBS, and I was watching it, and it didn't really affect me too much, but there were nights when it wasn't as big as it was, and I was like, huh, I wonder what's going on. Like, do I not sound good tonight? You start questioning yourself, which is the worst thing you can do as an entertainer or as a streamer. And I saw a video by Tim the Tapman, and had to do, like I said earlier, I had to do some digging around to find out some tips and tricks for streaming, like because there's probably stuff that I wouldn't even think of that I could utilize or keep in mind as I'm streaming. And the one thing he said that I have held strong to this day: turn your viewer count off. Off. Don't even like look at it. I never look at my viewers count anymore. I've been streaming for 10 months. It's probably been 9 months. I don't have my viewer count on. I don't care how many people are watching. Um, because I stream for me, and I stream for the people that do come and do interact with me on chat. I mean, those are the people that I entertain. And if they weren't there, I would still be streaming anyway, because like I said, I need rehearsal, and I just enjoy playing my guitar. And so yeah, the viewer count thing, oh man, it's easy to get wrapped up in that whole thing. And yeah, that was the best advice I ever saw, on any level. If anything I looked at, that was like the big thing, was turn the viewer count off on your way up, because you will get no benefit from that, because your count is never the same. So you know you can look at your max view count from one particular show. You could have nothing the next time as a small streamer. So it is completely random, and if you start thinking that it's a direct result of how you're performing or how you're entertaining, I think it'll do horrible things to your brain.
Right. Would you say that's one of the biggest pieces of advice you would give like people aspiring to become a Twitch streamer?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the other thing that I'm not doing, and I'm not sure if this is a question later on, um, is like, I know where I'm deficient as a streamer, and I know what I have to do to fix that. But we'll get to that later.
Okay. So, like you just said, you've been streaming for coming up to almost a year in a couple of months.
Mhm.
There must have been, at least on several occasions, maybe less, but there must have been at one time or one stream where you went or where you've said to yourself, that could have went better.
All the time. All the time. as a singer performer, I listen to myself as I'm singing because it's a weird thing. I want to hear the song that I'm playing, so I listen to myself sing it. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of a weird thing. So if I don't hit the notes the way I know they're supposed to be hit, I feel I'm just like, oh man, I really wish I had dug down and really nailed that line or whatever it was.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
happens all the time. But the worst things that can happen on stream haven't happened yet. But the worst thing I've had happen so far, I'm scared to death of breaking a string without having extra strings, because that's just one of those things. I've been there. I've got a horror story from live music I can tell you after this interview. But um, the worst thing that's happened to my stream so far was one of those situations I was talking about earlier, where the guy didn't realize he was being a troll and completely derailed my entire stream. And I had a
Right.
really good. I remember this night very clearly. Like, I was having a great, really great night. The crowd, the chat was really busy and interacting with each other and me, and it was really busy and it was cool. And people were throwing requests out and really engaging in the stream. And this guy came in and someone gifted him a sub, and I was like, wow. Uh, and he said, "Hey, um, can you play this song?" And he didn't even bother to look at my song list. I was like, "No, man, go look at the song list. You can check it out." And I said, "And you're a sub now, so you'll be able to get some priority." He's like, "I was like, well, sub, you're subscribed. Someone gifted you a subscription. What's that? What does that do?" And I had to sit there and try to explain this to this guy what had happened. And I said, "Someone just basically gave you $5." Like, you know, and it got
Right.
down to that point where I had to literally talk to this guy like he was a 3-year-old and say, "Well, this person was really nice and bought this thing worth $5 for you, and now you're subscribed to my channel, and this person, you're now sort of, you know, by proxy, sort of helping to engage with my channel and support my channel. Oh, what does that do for me?" And we're like,
Right.
"Oh my god!" Like we sat there, chat and myself. It had to have been, oh, wow, it felt like forever, but it was probably about a good 25 minutes trying to explain to this guy why what a subscription is. So we were trying to describe it, and I was like, "You supported my stream, and you get these custom emotes and stuff." And blah blah. He was, "Okay, what about that? Like, what does that do?" And then we're just like, the
Oh
whole
boy.
chat just started like at the same time. "Oh my god, guy, just say thank you." You know what I mean? He goes, "For what?" It just kept going and going and going, and it was just, oh my god, it was awful. And I couldn't kick the guy or block him or anything, because he was a new subscriber and someone was kind enough to and generous enough to give him a subscription. So I was like, oh my god, he's got to stay. But he kept asking for these songs, and what he did was the one thing that um, is the hardest for me to deal with right now, as far as just trying to keep everyone cool and happy, because I want to make everyone happy who comes to my stream. Try to throw up links from YouTube videos saying, "Learn this," but it's not a live learn night. And usually I have to go to my Discord to look at the list of things that people have been adding to my list of
Uh-huh.
songs to learn. So it's not just drop a YouTube song in. And some people just don't understand that, I guess. But anyway, this guy just completely derailed my stream, and I had to take a break. Like I said, "Okay, I need a break, you guys. I'll be back." And I just had to clear my head because it was just frustrating. I was just like, wow, I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, yeah. So that was really the toughest part of streaming so far.
That sounds like an episode of like a TV show you would watch or something.
Oh my god, seriously, it was like Curb Your Enthusiasm level of like frustration. Like, I just didn't understand. Like, it just wasn't getting through to this guy, and everyone was trying, and then people were trying to rein it back and say, "Let's just get back to playing music." And I'm sitting there losing my mind going, I'm like, "Dude, I'm trying to explain this to you. I want this to be the best it can be for you, but you just don't clearly understand what it is." Like, it's almost like he didn't even understand what Twitch was, or how all of a sudden I'm on his computer screen. I was like, I feel like I have to explain the internet to this guy. It was the weirdest thing. But yeah, it lasted way too long, and I learned my lesson from that point on, that to never really give that kind of time to those kind of situations.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time, man. I have a hard time as a Canadian, especially to just ignore people, or not want them to be happy or and feel like they're involved or whatever. Like I do feel bad about that a lot, and I don't want people to think that I don't care. Um, so yeah, I think there's a lesson to there was a lesson learned there. It's like, okay, show that you care, but I mean, enough is enough at some point.
Right, and that must be like a really difficult thing for you, given that you are like the kindest nation on earth.
The kindest nation, I don't know about that. We get a rap for that, and I'm not. It's not something I'm ashamed of, I guess. But I mean, I've seen plenty of nasty shit
I'm sure you
in,
have.
in Canada. But no, I mean, it also, like I said, a lot of it comes from my live playing. I mean, when you're playing in front of strangers and you have to do your best to make sure that they're on your page, um, you develop these sort of tools to try to get them on your side and let them feel like, hey, this is us. We're doing this together. You know what I mean? Like I'm not just some goofball from out of town. And it was just, yeah, that just went way too long, way too long.
So, sounds like a hell of a stream, to be honest.
I think I got rid of that VOD real quick.
I wouldn't blame you in doing so. So with that really bad experience on Twitch, you must have a time or stream that either balances that out or overweighs that time and made it like the best stream you've ever had.
Hmm.
Unless that story was like a kind of two-way thing that made it the worst but best.
No, not at all. Not at all. No, that was a nightmare. That was a nightmare for me. But like I said, anything that happens negatively is a lot as a lesson to be learned. So, but as far as good things that happened on stream, you know, I'm gonna sound really diplomatic here, but it's kind of just the way I feel. Anyone who donates to the stream, I find that to be like I'm so ridiculously appreciative of that because they don't have to do that. You know what I mean? And I don't ever take that for granted. Um, I've had successful streams monetarily. I've had amazing streams for like viewership and engagement. My worst requests ever episodes are usually really fun, and those are usually really good highlights. Um, but and I was thinking about this. The one I think the best thing that happened to me on stream, and it's going to sound kind of goofy and funny, but it was, because I've been watching Twitch for so long, and I've, watching like I said, Gold Glove and Doctor Disrespect and all these guys, and you hear them shout out the subs and do all these things. The first sub I ever got when I was actually able to say those words myself, "Hey, thanks for the tier 1 sub." That was a huge, like, that made me smile internally. Like, that was, like, a really cool moment, and, it's something that will never be the same again. Like, that is the one first that will never be a first again, you know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
that was a really, really cool moment for my stream in the sense that, wow, people actually do this. What I mean? It's not just something these guys are saying, people actually do, choose to support a stream. And it was really just amazing for me to feel like someone actually thought I was worth supporting. You know what I mean? I think that was a huge part for me, a huge moment for me on my stream. And I've had some really great streams, but as far as if I had to pick a particular moment um, in the stream, I think that would really stand out as like a great highlight. But like I said, I've had people donate, everything from 100 bits to triple digit figures, and it blows me away every time anyone does that. And again, if you ever hear my thank yous or appreciations, they go on for about a minute after that happens because I'm
Mhm.
just so I want them to truly understand how appreciative I am of anything that they do use to support my stream for sure.
Well, now I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit here.
Hmm.
Since you mentioned that very first sub, do you remember their name?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
My tiny tribe.
Well,
My
there you
tiny
go.
tribe was yeah, yeah. She's a fellow Brit, I believe. I think if I'm not mistaken, Welsh. Maybe.
Okay, it's a good job you didn't
I'm
say
sure she'll
English
correct me
then.
if she ever hears it. Let's oh, the English have been very good to me. Yeah, yeah. So I'll never forget that for sure, but there have been longer lasting stuff. She subbed for a while and then didn't and then came back again. So that's really awesome that she did decide to come back. I know a lot of people, and this is sort of off topic for a second, but I do realize that sometimes people, when their subscription runs out, feel bad about coming back. And I would just want to set them straight and let them know that at least on the Derelekt channel, on my stream, you're always welcome back. It's not about the money that you invest in the stream or any, it's not about that kind of support. Your views and your engagement are all the support that I need.
Yeah, and I often hear other streamers say that as well, but it's like some streamers, like I mentioned in my last podcast, some streamers only ever talk to those people with the badges next to their names. Either they're a mod or a subscriber,
Mhm.
and it really can put people off watching a stream if they know that they only talk to the streamer only ever talks to those people who have paid towards the stream, shall we say.
Right, yeah, yeah. I can say, and I've always kind of thought this. It's good to be a small streamer in a lot of ways, and to come in and hang out with a small streamer because chat isn't near as busy as it would be on a huge popular stream. I've even popped into some of the friends that I've met on the music side of Twitch, and try to drop in like a quick hello and see what's going on. Just like, hey, just letting you know, I'm sort of come by to check out your stream, and I like listening to you and stuff. And they don't get my message, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
want to type the same thing in a whole bunch of times, and I understand that, and it's but that's just a symptom, I think, of being more popular. It's hard to keep chat even on slow mode or whatever it is. It's hard to keep up with what's being said and what's being talked about sometimes. And I try when my eyes aren't completely shut when I'm singing, because that happens 95% of the time. I do try to read chat as I'm going, so I can comment on something after I'm done the song or whatever. Uh, but no, if anyone comes in and says hello, I'm always in there to say, hey, what's up? What's going on? Hit that song list. Let me know if there's anything I can play for you. And if I could put that as a sign, even as an overlay, I would put that on the overlay. Say, hey, listen, man, I appreciate you being here, even if I don't call you out. Just hit that song list and put a song in request, and I don't mind playing a song for you.
Right. I think the viewers or listeners of this show have already kind of picked up on that you're a music streamer primarily.
Yes.
um, but beyond music, do you stream anything else other than music, or have you thought about it, or do you currently do it on certain days of streams?
The funny thing, I don't even remember what I put on my profile sort of headline on Twitch now. I don't know what it is now, but I know the first one that I put up was, I'm a gamer and a musician, and you'll probably see both on this channel because I actually been gaming longer than I've been a musician, and that's a long time. That's a long time. Gaming wasn't what it is today when I was sort of in the throes of it. Unfortunately, because it probably would have been something I would have been diving into. But no, I love gaming, and there's a lot of streams, that I'll end a little early so I can have time to play with my buds on, either Xbox or PlayStation. I used to PC game exclusively all the time, but that kind of went away.
Right. Okay. So you kind
But I
of
would still
play games towards the side of streaming.
I would stream games, absolutely. Absolutely. If I had the setup for it, I would absolutely do game streaming. Even the guys that I play with come into chat once in a while to give me a hard time. Very once in a while, you wouldn't even know they were
Right.
a regular. But they'll come in and drop a word like, uh, "Just got a tank." Okay, Battlefield 1 tonight. All right, we're in. Let's do this. All right, I got to end my stream. But yeah, I mean, I've said to them, if you guys don't mind, eventually one day when I have the gear, I mean, you guys being, on my stream if I do some gaming streams. They're like, nah, that's all right. But yeah, I would absolutely game stream. I've never had a problem with that because you know, I've had a passion for gaming ever since 8-bit.
Oh,
So
right.
yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was never lucky enough to. Well, I wasn't lucky enough to be born um, before the generation of computers.
Yeah, no, oh my gosh, we could have a really great discussion about gaming, but this is not the podcast for it.
Right.
Yeah, no, gaming is gaming. I've always had a gaming system. I've always had consoles. And when PCs, were getting bigger. I mean, I started my first PC game was Battlefield 1942, and I played Battlefield all the way up on
All right.
PC until 4, I think.
I'm the biggest. I'm like the biggest fan of Battlefield 4. It's my favorite Battlefield.
Yeah, you and Jack Frags.
Jack Frags.
He's my boy. I love Jack Frags.
Hey, but you can't beat a bit of Frankie.
Uh,
He's not
what
he's
happened
not
to
as around
Frank?
as much.
He's not. I was just saying, what happened to Frankie? Because he kind of got that whole thing started, then he disappeared when it became really popular. Anyway,
Yeah, I
this
think
conversation could go on for a long time, my man.
it could, but I think I'll just end this conversation with this little statement here. With Frankie, I think what it was, he tried to get into the whole roleplay scenario when it came to like Arma 3, but
Right.
I don't think his fans like that, and I think he got a bit discouraged
Hmm.
making those type of videos.
Yeah. I've watched a few gamers go through that actually. That transition from here's what you know me for, and I really want to try something different. And it's very hard for a lot of gamers to do that. Actually, Gold Glove is a classic example of that. He was a DayZ guy, and everyone knew him for DayZ. That's when he
Yeah,
became extremely popular. Um, and he just doesn't play it anymore. And people, there's still people coming into his chat all the time, like, when are you playing DayZ? Like, he hates hearing about it. But he was able to get through it. You know what I mean? Like, he was able to sort of stick to his guns and say, like, look, you either like me or you don't, as an entertainer, regardless of the game I'm playing. And yeah, he struggled there for a little bit, but I mean, he's back, right on top of doing his thing now. So I think maybe Frankie just wasn't like having that. You know what I mean?
yeah, maybe it could be other things, but we'll just put the assumption out there that was that.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, I see more SATA videos than I do of Frankie these days.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I was like, SATA was the tag along. Now he's like the guy. No offense
um,
to SATA. I mean, I don't really know the whole story, but that's the only time I ever saw SATA was in Frankie's stream. So.
right. I think that puts like people off streaming, and another
Hmm.
thing that, well, at least what kind of puts me off streaming is that we all look up to these bigger streamers when it comes to like the gaming side of streams. We all look up
Hmm.
towards these bigger streamers such as Doctor Disrespect, Ninja, um, Timac, PMS Proxy,
Hmm.
and all these bigger roleplay, Fortnite, PUBG streamers.
Right.
And when you scroll down into their descriptions, they've got like 7 million computers running their streams,
Hmm.
and you've got us sat here in front of one computer with
Right.
like equipment in them that are like 3 generations old.
Right.
Um, Putting that out there, does how do you run your streams? Do you have the multiple computer setups? Do you run off one computer? Do you have like separate equipment that helps you produce your streams?
No.
Okay,
No.
straight up
I have
answer, no.
Yeah, I have one laptop that I run everything off of, and it's Windows boot on my MacBook Pro, and that's basically that's it. and it works plenty well for what I'm doing. But I've always been a little more multifaceted than just playing my guitar or just doing a few loops. I have a software that I picked up that allows me to do a lot more fancy looping. I'm just going to call it fancier looping. I can use a little keyboard and do like full drums. I can do like a bass line. I can do strings and everything else, and I can work it all into a loop and create these really big sounding songs. Like one of my British or European people in my community loves Champagne by Oasis,
Right.
and so I've got that all hooked up, and I'm telling you, man, halfway through the song, when everything is fully set up, it sounds like Champagne Supernova, and I'm like, I need this on my stream. The problem is I don't have a streaming PC because I can't process this streaming app and OBS and everything on the same computer. I
Right.
just don't have it. I mean, I've got 16 gigs, quad core i7, but it's just not powerful enough to run all of these things. And it's frustrating because like I said, I'm not going and invest a lot of money in this just yet. I'd rather my stream sort of help get me to that point of being able to pursue purchasing a streaming PC, which I'm definitely going to have one day. I'm not just going to stick with the single computer. I could, but there's stuff that I want to do as an entertainer as well that just requires the dual PC setup, and that's a big thing. That and an Elgato HD 60. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that for my for gaming as well, for my console gaming, and I have a few games on PC that I would want to play as well. I just, like I said, I can't do anything else other than what I have, and it's as fun as that is. I mean, I really do enjoy it still, of course, but yeah, I've got a lot of other things that I really want to do on this channel. I just need that streaming PC for.
Right. See, I wasn't aware that you just streamed off of a laptop, so that's new to me too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I don't even have an external keyboard, Bluetooth keyboard hooked up to make it easier. Like you'll see me leaning all over the place and moving my
Yeah.
mic out all the time, and it's really frustrating. Like I do wish I had, like I said, the full Monty setup, but I mean, again, there's no use having that at first. It's like someone buying a Les Paul standard guitar for $1,600 to learn how to play guitar. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
unnecessary. It's
Start
so
cheap,
unnecessary.
work your way up.
Well, yeah, and exactly. That's the way I think all streaming should be. Start with what you have and just make it your own and let it do the work for you.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that's something I
so
go.
let's fingers crossed for that streaming PC one day.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone help Derelekt get his streaming PC of a dream.
Yeah, please, please.
Every streamer has run into some roadblocks along the way of streaming, whether they're the biggest streamer out there or they've got between 5 and 10 views per stream.
Mhm.
What were some of the major roadblocks that you had to go through becoming coming to where you are now?
Um, the biggest roadblock I've had, I think, still exists for a short amount of time left. So in another 2 months, it'll be good. Um, I have not been able to have a consistent schedule for my stream, and that's the one thing that I was going to mention later on. The one of the biggest things that you have to have to be successful on Twitch is a schedule. People need to know when you're going to be streaming, and you have to be streaming at that point. And it's the kind of thing you have to hook up with a lot of confidence and say, yeah, I'm going to be doing this these days every time, whether it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, or, Tuesday and Saturdays, whatever it is that you decide is going to be your stream schedule, you got to stick to it. And I think people really, that's the biggest roadblock I've had, is that my stream schedule is not consistent, to a point where I still get messages. Hey, are you streaming tonight? And, and I'm just like, "Oh god, I hate that they have to ask that," but it's true. And, I could go into a long story about that, but basically I do split my time between my home province and another province, to spend time with Ms. Derelekt, who is, working in a different province. So I have been splitting my time. Luckily for what I do for work, I'm able to travel, um, and do it remotely, but, I don't have my setup.
Right.
every
Yeah.
time I go there. I have a smaller setup that's relatively frustrating to try to when because I get very used to doing it in my lab here in my stream room, but I try to take a broken down version of that on the road, and you know it's in an apartment, so I can't really sing all that loud, and I'm a little more
Yeah.
timid, and it's not me, you know what I mean? So I don't like streaming when I can't give all of myself. I'm not popular enough to get away with that just yet.
Right. You'd
I think
rather
if I
you.
was yeah, yeah. I think if I was popular and had thousands of this and that's and all these numbers and crazy numbers and all these things, I could dumb it down once in a while, but and I know I probably still could now, but I'm still in growth mode. So I mean, I don't want to put out a stream that's any less than my best, and that's how I was raised in music. That's how I've always looked at music too. I take the craft of it very seriously, but I don't take myself or the stream seriously when you're watching me. I'm hoping that it's coming across relatively light, even though I'm judging every little thing that I've done. You know.
Yeah, definitely. And touching on that topic a bit about your schedules,
Hmm.
I believe that I've asked you that question a few times in your Discord.
Yeah. You have actually.
And yeah, I kind of should have looked at your channel before asking that question to see if you had a schedule.
Right.
Now that I come to think of it.
And no, no, I don't. I wish I did. Still working on that. It's like I said, that should be remedied in the new year, if not just before the new year. That should be all remedied because I'm going to be a stay in one spot guy from that point on, which is going to be fantastic for the stream.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna get a bit more. Well, it's still Twitch related, but a bit more closer to you type thing.
Sure.
So, have you always been a musician, or has Twitch given you the platform to do something with your passion?
Um, yeah, I've always been a musician. My dad got me my first guitar when I was 12, and him and his best friend spent 2 weeks refinishing it. They got it at a pawn shop. I'm not sure what they call it in the UK, but it was basically just this cheap, cheap, cheap guitar, and they broke it all down, repainted it, put it all back together. It was shiny as an apple when they were done, and it was amazing. And ever since that point, um, I've either had a band that I played with, as in school, where you just play as a garage band. You just
Mm-hmm.
play, or and it wasn't very long before I think my dad had us out playing 50s music when I was 15 years old.
Awesome.
Because he was a 50s musician, like that's where his generation, and he was a cover band guy for his whole life, and he yeah, he taught us 3 sets of 50s music, so we could go out and play at 15 years old, like, at bars for matinees, like, in the afternoons on the weekends, and make some money. So he's like, "You guys learn these songs, I can get you some gigs," and we're like, "Alright, fine." Yeah, so we spent a long time learning 50s music when I was a kid, but, yeah, so it taught us a lot about music, to be honest with you, on harmonies and playing together and playing in a band and all that kinda stuff. Um, but yeah, I've played ever since then. I've been playing in bands of all kinds. I've toured Canada a few times, a few times with cover music, and uh, a few times with an original product that we were shopping and stuff like that. So yeah, basically been playing my whole life up until the last few years, and that's where Twitch sort of came in. It gave me an opportunity to keep playing for virtual crowds in a way. I know they're real people, but to me, sometimes when you're looking at it, it's just chat, and it's
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
to. It's a funny thing I say once in a while to a lot of people who have questions about it, because a lot of people my age, they don't even know what Twitch is, to be honest with you. And and it's funny when I so they're like, "You're just sitting in a room by yourself?" Like, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, but it's my gear, it's my music, it's my rules, it's my community, and I build them up, and they help build me up, and it's a fun experience. And yeah, so right now it's kind of like a different, it's like a different renaissance of sorts for my musical history. This is a whole other thing that I've picked up on and gladly enjoy for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome, especially since you started off playing like the 50s music, which
Yeah.
is actually my favorite type of music. I'm really big into my Elvis Presley, my Frank Sinatra, all
Oh
those
yeah.
guys. I've actually got tattoos of them on my body, so
Nice. Hey, listen, man, that's where popular music started. I mean, it's not where music started. Obviously, music's been there forever, but um, for this generation, at least, for the time of for the timeline in which we're going to be alive, they are the originators, man, and you can't go wrong with people who sort of kicked off and made something really popular. Like, the Beatles for me is one of those acts that they did something so different, and they'll always be the Beatles. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it'll just
yeah,
they'll always be that, and that's like one of my bucket list items. I've seen Paul McCartney live, but I want to meet him, and I don't think there's a whole lot of years left, unfortunately. But that would be my biggest musical bucket list of people to meet is Paul McCartney for sure. Just to be able to sit down and talk to him for like 5 minutes. I don't need to ask him the same old BS that everyone always asks him. They're not like interview questions. I just want to chat. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But yeah, I do remember the first song I ever learned though was shoot. Oh, what fucking song is that? It's Judas Priest. Breaking the Law.
Lovely
Judas
song.
Priest, Breaking the Law. And I don't know if you've ever heard that song, but if you give it a listen, you'll see the little guitar line right at the beginning. That's the first thing I ever learned on guitar.
Yeah, it's an amazing song.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. And it was literally the first thing I ever learned. Because all the stuff that my dad taught me was all the 50s music, and all the stuff that my dad's friend taught me were chords. He just said, learn your chords up and down your neck, learn how to play eight different ways. And so I spent a lot of time sort of doing that, but every time that we did our thing, it was always like, AC/DC or Judas Priest or Metallica or
Mm,
whatever it was at the time, like all that stuff most guitarists pick up first because it's not easy to play, but it's easy to get a hold of. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So, Derelict, this is kind of the part of the podcast now where I'm going to give you the floor. You can say whatever the hell you want to say.
Jesus.
Give out any social medias you have, any advice you want to give the people listening. Just anything you would like to say. The floor is yours.
Sure. All right. Thanks. Well, I'm Derelekt. If you come to my stream, you'll also meet Pick James, who is my logo, my partner in crime. He's a big personality on the chat. He's become a chat favorite. I think if he actually had a voice and a body, he would be much bigger than me on Twitch right now. Um, uh, Social media is Derelekt Music. So Derelekt Music on Instagram and Twitter. You can hit me up there. Same Discord, I believe, is just Derelekt. I think. Either way, you'll be able to find out the Discord from there. Twitch channel obviously is Derelekt. And if you want to hear some acoustic music, a little bit of looping here and there, having a lot of fun with songs. Sometimes I like to do voices. My Britney Spears actually is asked for quite a bit. Um, and if you want to have some fun with some episodes that I do, stuff like worst request ever, where you can come in and ask for really embarrassing songs, and I can't say no. See, I say no once in a while on my stream because hey, it's my stream, and I'm not going to play Neil Diamond. But on these particular nights when I have these episodes, and they're usually set up by follower goals. Once we hit a follower goal, we'll have another episode, which are getting pretty close to episode 4 now. If you want to have that kind of fun and just want to hang out and chill in a really cool environment with a lot of really cool people, hit up Derelekt on Twitch and come say hi and let me know that if you heard me on this podcast, that would be really cool.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Please, everyone, go check out Derelict. His links will be in the description below this podcast. As usual, it'll be up on YouTube. It'll be up on SoundCloud, and I've actually just got cleared to put it on Spotify as well. So
Nice.
check it out on Spotify, under the name of Behind the Streams, all one word, because someone had already taken the one with spaces, which I am now
Bastard.
very happy about. um, And I want to give a really big thank you for Derelekt for taking time out of his day to come chat to me about what it's like being on the lower end of Twitch, what his experiences have been. So Derelekt, thank you so much for coming to talk to me.
Not a problem, man. It was my pleasure.
If you guys are small streamers listening, or if you want to come and chat about becoming a small streamer, or if you want to do like a collaboration with one of my guests that I want to have on the podcast, please feel free to either drop me a comment underneath the YouTube video or drop me a comment on the SoundCloud stream with details of how I can contact you. Please feel free to do that, and I will try my best to get you on an episode of the podcast. Once again, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you to Derelekt, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Thank you very much for listening, guys.